Hello everyone, this is an intro video for my conspiracy theory evidence playlist. It's been a little bit since I made my last intro. I've been adding a lot of new videos. I'm up to 69 videos. So I'm just going to explain just which videos go where, why I arranged them the way I did, and what I'm trying to go with when I'm portraying this evidence. So these two are about Fox News. Fox News being a propaganda outlet, basically, to just explaining that when it comes to the left and right of politics, that the right is like they're like on Nazi caliber. They're like super evil. It's not balanced at all. There's a serious gradient here between the right and the left. Right is the evil party and left is the sane party. It's basically what it boils down to. So that should spark people's imaginations a little bit about politics. Now, when you go into these two, these are about false flag operations. These go with the Bilderberg thing because the Bilderberg is about world leaders getting together and agreeing on their world vision. If their world vision involves false flag operations, then you should probably be suspicious of this. So these two are about just the overall history of the economy. This is a more recent history, and this is a more extensive history going back into the time of Jesus and stuff like that. This is more like a very, very comprehensive history. This is just a recent history. Like I said, this is a version of events that isn't recorded in your history books, but this goes. It's parallel to this. It goes with this very like it meshes perfectly. Like this and this all make sense to each other. Like they go together perfectly. Is what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of consistency between the lines of evidence here. And these two are very important because this is extremely credible. It's just basic history. Like any history teacher should be well aware of the information in the Money Masters movie. And this is a very supplemental but very insightful, gives a much better perspective on the whole thing. So moving on, this World According to Monsanto and this Excitotoxins documentary, both of these are about food and about poisoning food. It just represents what type of a society we're living in. And it's very important for understanding just the standard of living and the quality of life on this planet, even for Americans. By video 11, I'm starting to deal with more scientific stuff. Now, the rest of this is not scientific, but there is a certain part of this whole evidence playlist that deals with scientific suppression. So there's economic, political, and scientific. And then I also talk about certain leaders who are very corrupt, including aliens who are very corrupt. So anyways, like I said, I got the political stuff, economic stuff with this is a more economic. The first five are about politics. These two are about science and politics. And by video 11, I'm dealing with just pure science. It starts to have a gradient where it starts to deal more with deep underground military bases and Area 51 and stuff like that. And you can just glance over each one of these and get an idea. This number 30, I recommend this one. To anyone who doesn't understand free energy or what it's about, this explains it perfectly. It's an exploit to avoid Lenz's law. You have AC and DC on the same coil working the same rotor, and the kickback does not affect the speed of the rotor nearly as much as it's supposed to. So anyways, the scientific stuff cuts off at 32. By 33, I'm dealing more with economic stuff again. This is more along the lines of like biblical economics because this is like global economic collapse type of stuff. It should really make people step back and like get their priorities in gear. This is more mainstream scientific conspiracy. None of these guys are conspiracy scientists. They're just regular scientists who got caught up in conspiracy. This is more about Agent Orange corn, genetically modified foods. This is a really big deal. These four right here, and explain to you just how screwed up all this is, and how it's not just like a corruption. It's a corruption with the entire tapestry of how the world leaders work. So number 48 is Dark Secrets Inside Bohemian Grove. There's also this this cult of what you might call Illuminati people. They're all related to each other. It's all the same bloodline, and it goes back even to feudalistic feudalistic era with the kings and stuff like that and the royalty. This is sort of like how the royalty deal with the rest of the people. They all have this very tightly knit conspiracy where they want to suppress mankind. This is about JFK and his speech about secret societies and secret proceedings. You have to go in the middle of this speech in order to get the stuff that he's talking about, but it connects very well with the Bohemian Grove and the one family, one bloodline thing. This is dealing more with just some outrageous stuff with conservatives. These conservatives are actively conspiring to destroy society. It's not just that they think certain things and that they're wrong. They are extremely evil bastards who are like Nazi caliber propaganda machine. So with these, you can see that it's not just conservatives being stupid. It's conservatives being like working for the devil. And this is stuff about Israel. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos about Israel. And there's tons of stuff about Israel, but this is just a sampling. The whole Israel conflict is extremely biased. What you get in the mainstream media is just completely biased towards Israeli propaganda. You can see that Israel is like this Munchausen syndrome country where like most of the citizens, most of the Israelis are completely brainwashed. And it just goes to show how easily such a large population of people can be brainwashed. And it's really just a symbol of how politics works. A country just muscles its way into whatever mentality that it feels like and then justifies it later. It's very common in politics. This is some stuff about UFOs. These are the highest quality UFO compilations. This one, 63 and 64, are very credible UFO sightings. And it's not just one person. It's a group, a huge group of credible sources. This one especially. But this one, these are little kids. There's no reason for them to make this up. They all act in accordance to one specific event, and their teachers and stuff verify it, and they know these kids. They know they're not going to, just randomly decide to start talking about aliens. And the teachers saw the aliens too. I mean, especially when we talk about UFO sightings, it's very difficult to explain why it's so credible. But with 64 and 63, you can just get a brief glimpse at what it's like dealing with this kind of thing. 65 and 66 are also about UFOs from a different angle. 67, 68, and 69, these last 3 videos are about really corrupt leaders. And it's important that you watch these 3 because it just goes to show just how completely fucking evil just a couple of leaders can be. They're very evil, and it's not just some coincidence. It's not like, oh, it's just their religion or it's just the fact that they're conservative. No, it should wake people up to think like, maybe the fact that they are Satan worshipers is the reason why they were able to become leaders. You think that they're like, oh, well, if someone's a good person, they should become a leader, and they have a higher chance of becoming a leader, when in reality, it's the exact opposite. Now, there are some leaders who are, fairly ethical, like Alan Grayson, for instance, or, even people in the news like Dylan Ratigan and Cenk Uygur. But, I mean, they're very rare is what I'm trying to get at. And more common is you get these bastards who are in, politics, and they have, like, their throne. They're like the kings. And they're running the show is what I'm trying to say. So you should be very skeptical of the establishment is what I'm trying to get at here. So if you don't believe in the establishment or you're disillusioned by it, this should be a good overview of the tapestry of what that actually looks like on many, many different angles. You can pick and choose which ones you believe, but keep in mind these are all consistent with one another. These all deal with the same conspiracy, the same distrust, and the same suspicions about what conspires at the most secret levels of how the world works.